Man, was it a wild night, dude. The hype lived up to the expectation. We heard about this card a while ago and everyone was excited. Alex Pereira's rematch against Ankalaev. But anyways, wild night full of shocking upsets, dude. Some serious statements were made that night. And a lot of foreshadowing for the future of different divisions in the UFC, man, and in the future of where the UFC as a whole is going to be going. I'll tell you more of my thoughts on that, specifically in terms of like the striking and the wrestling and where the styles are going. I feel like every time, and this happens for every league, it's not just in the UFC, but here I'm talking about the UFC, so I'll get into that. I'm gonna stick to that. You'll see something happen in MMA, right? Like a technique work, right? And it's coming from a camp or a fighter or something, and all of a sudden people are reminded that this can work or this works, right? It shows people that this works. And so you'll start seeing people trade it more. For example, jiu-jitsu. In the earlier UFC days, you had the Gracies come through and they dominated with jiu-jitsu. And then that entailed like the era of like the jiu-jitsu, the MMA and jiu-jitsu, at least in the UFC, right? You started seeing like elbows in the most recent fights. I personally feel like we're starting to see elbows because of dirty boxing. I think it's because you have a lot of these guys that are getting into dirty boxing, and so they have camps that are just filled with elbows. And so it's like you have classes where they're just running a lot of elbows and boxing, and so it translates to like these UFC fighters. They're doing it on the pads, even though they're not fighting in dirty boxing. They make their way in the UFC and they just continue with the same technique. I don't know. I'm just rambling. Coffee already kicking in. Also want to make a random note. Cash Patel was in the audience of UFC last night. Cash Patel, for those of you that do not know, he is the FBI director. Very interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we've had like other FBI agents, directors, people go check out UFC fights, but I don't know. I can't remember of any. So that was interesting. I feel like you're starting to, is there going to be an era of UFC and politics? I mean, you see Dana White making statements and he's got, the President Trump up in the UFCs. They're like best buddies. So I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. I wonder if we're going to start seeing FBI agents train in the UFC or some opportunities come for UFC fighters to go join the FBI or something. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I just put that in my notes. But anyway, so just some cards that we're going to be going through. I'm really just going to be talking about the main event because I keep trying to make these things like 30 minutes or less and they end up being like an hour or more, and then I try to cut down as much as I can, like some fluff, and sometimes I'll just cut out fights completely. So today I'm just going to stick to just the main event. So for the main event, we had, not for the main card, we had Joe Pfeiffer versus Abus Magomedov, Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal, Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree, and obviously Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev. Those are pretty much the only fights I'm going to be talking of. Maybe I'll do another video where I talk about the undercards and stuff like that. I like talking about the undercards just because these are the up and coming guys, and it's cool to talk about someone and then in a year or two see them kind of make their way through the division. But for these specific ones, I'm just going to stick to the main cards, right? So let's get into it, man. Hope you guys are having a marvelous Sunday. I record on Sundays. And by the way, Road Destroy. I don't know, man. This joint didn't want to stick, dude. Like, I had an issue with the mouthpiece, man. That shit kept I don't know if it was the glue or what. It's so loose on the mouthpiece, so it's bothering the crap out of me. I'm going to be smoking on some jelly runts, I believe. This is kind of a newer strain that we've been testing, so I'm kind of excited to crack this out. I smoked it once earlier, but this will be probably the first joint I smoked. I think I just packed a couple bowls, so if people at my work like this, we'll probably start running these. But yes, jelly runts. I'll light this up in a second because once I get high, I start just going off and start rambling too much. So let's get into the first fight, dude. The first fight of the night, the first main fight of the main card was Joe Pfeiffer versus Abus Magomedov. Man, this one had a lot of people talking, man. When you look at the paper, right? Obviously Magomedov has almost double the fights, so just looking at the stats, you know that Abus Magomedov, he has the more experience, But then when you get into like the finishes, right? So you got Magomedov, he's 28-6-1, and Pfeiffer's 14-3, right? Magomedov's got 14 KOs, 7 subs, 15 first round finishes. Pfeiffer, he's got 9 KOs with 4 subs. I don't know how many first round finishes he has. I didn't write it. But he does finish a lot of his fights. I mean, out of 14, he got 9 KOs and 4 subs. You know what I mean? So, I mean, other than losing, he's pretty much finishing the fight. Abis Magomedov, you know, going into this fight, like I've seen him fight before. I believe he's Dagestani, but he's also a striker. He's got the German flag though, which is interesting. But I mean, I guess you could be. Is he Dagestani? Let me hit the chat GPT. I just made the shortcut. Is Abis Magomedov from Dagestan?
Yes, Abis Magomedov is indeed from Dagestan, which is well known for producing a lot of top-level mixed martial artists. He's definitely part of that rich combat sports heritage.
Yeah, I wish I could change it. Like, you can change their voice, but then it changes their personality. I personally like this personality, but I wish I could make her like British. I make all my voices like British or like Indian or something like that. I don't know. I just think it sounds cool. But yeah, so he's from Dagestan, but he's primarily a striker. Interesting matchup. I think Abis Magomedov, I believe he's the more complete fighter. I mean, he's deadly on the ground. He's got knockout power. He's got striking power. He's one of the more exciting Dagestanis to watch. I got, you know, not to talk on the Dagestani guys, but it's like I'm not really into the crazy wrestling, you know, where you just kind of hold him down and stuff. Abis Magomedov, I believe he does Dagestani, right? The one thing though is his cardio. His cardio has always been a problem, and you saw it in the. Let me see who his last fight was. I can't remember who his last fight was, but I remember you saw he won, but he was like fading. Who was Abis Magomedov's last fight before Joe Pfeiffer?
Before his fight with Joe Pfeiffer, Abis Magomedov's last bout was on April 26, 2025 against Michel Pereira, and he won that fight by unanimous decision.
Yeah, he fought Michel Pereira, now I remember. And it was, Pereira obviously is a hard guy to fight. He's really elusive and he moves around, has a lot of explosive power. So obviously fighting that guy, it's going to be a hard fight. Like, unless you're a hardcore grappler or something and you grab onto him. Abis Magomedov, obviously he's got the grappling, but that's not his main thing. He's kind of more of a striker. He didn't look too good against Michel. And honestly, Michel, he gets tired too. He gasses out because he's so explosive, a lot of high twitch movement, you know. So, you know, we know about Magomedov's, you know, issues with his cardio. Joe Pfeiffer, man, I mean, you know, this guy, he came in and there's a lot of hype. Dana White hyped this guy up a lot. I believe he came in from the Contender Series. Let me ask ChatGPT. Did Joe Pfeiffer come from the Contender Series?
Absolutely. Joe Pfeiffer is definitely one of the standout fighters from the Contender Series. He made a big impression with his performances and then had a successful run in the UFC. If you want more details about his fights or his career, just let me know.
Cool. So yeah, he came from the Contender Series. This is my new Google assistant. I just like tell her to say now because I do the show solo now. And I mean, I kind of have been wanting to like do it in a setting where I can type stuff up, maybe at my desk or something. But until we do that, you know, I guess we're gonna run it like this. But anyway, so Joe Pfeiffer, he came from the Contender Series. Dana White, he kind of liked this guy a lot. I remember he was doing some favors for him. I believe he bought him a car at one point. But Joe Pfeiffer, man, he's one of those dudes where he just works hard, man. I mean, he's the type of dude where he's first in, last out, you know, and he really wanted to show Dana that he's grateful for all that he's done. And so he's kind of been the kind of dude to like not say no to any fight. And he wants a shot at the title, you know, I mean, so he's an exciting fighter. Joe Pfeiffer, he's kind of known for his knockout power. I mean, I think I'm not sure if it was Joe Pfeiffer, but I believe Joe Pfeiffer was the dude that his punch strength was higher than Ngannou's, right? Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. But anyway, so Joe Pfeiffer, I mean, tell the tape, man. Joe Pfeiffer, I already knew. I expected him to try to go for the knockout against Magomedov. Interesting. He ended up grappling right from the get-go. I remember right when the first round started, there were some exchanges, and then he kind of went for the takedown. He went for the clinch. I thought it was a bad decision. I think I even wrote it in my notes. Where is it? I wrote, I mean, you know, Magomedov's grappling just levels above Pfeiffer's. You know, Pfeiffer tried to clinch early. That was a mistake on Pfeiffer's end. Magomedov ended up taking him down, no problem. Threatened with the guillotine on two separate occasions when they were in clinch range. I remember Magomedov was going for the guillotine. He just completely controlled Pfeiffer on the ground, man. Honestly, it wasn't even like a challenge for him. The second round, out of nowhere, Pfeiffer just ends up snatching a rear naked choke. I honestly didn't see how it happened because I got up for a second to do something. I didn't think it was gonna. I can't remember what I was doing, but I had to go do something. Came back and it was over, so I didn't even get to see the replay because it was so fast. But Pfeiffer ended up getting the rear naked choke, out of nowhere. And I honestly, one thing I noticed was in the end, towards the end of that second round, because of all those grappling exchanges, even though Magomedov was winning and controlling, he was getting more tired. Like when Pfeiffer made his way up, you could see that he was already Magomedov was already breathing heavy. He slowed down in his movement. I think Joe Rogan or one of the commentators had stated that like he wonders if this was a part of the game plan, if Joe Pfeiffer was deciding to grapple early on when he had the strength and the conditioning, the cardio to defend it, rather in the later rounds when you're too tired and you just kind of accept positions. But he was like, was he willing to go to the grappling early on when he can defend it better in order to get Magomedov tired? And I think he did, honestly. It really, because he was chaining these takedowns and just going for different clinch exchanges, and he was losing, and I was like, why does he keep doing that, man? But it would make sense, dude. Maybe the game plan was just to get him tired. And actually, I think Joe Pfeiffer, during his interview at the end, he did say that he knows Magomedov had his gas tank wasn't as deep as Pfeiffer's, and I think he did say that he wanted to get him tired through grappling, whether it was grappling or striking. He's like, the game plan was to get him tired, and once he got tired, that's when you make your move, and it worked, man. A flawless game plan. And that's cool. Pfeiffer, he's a cool guy, dude. We'll see who's next for him. That was for I didn't even write what weight class that was. Oh, dude, I forgot to write the weight classes for all of them, I think. Shoot. Pause. Let me fix this real quick. So middleweight. Light middleweight. I don't think he's ready for Kazmat. Right? Let's not do Kazmat. Joe Pfeiffer, let's give him sure. All right. Joe Pfeiffer. I say we give him Joe Pfeiffer versus Michael Venom. That'd be interesting. Jared Cannonier. I would go. I mean, Cannonier would be a good one. Joe Pfeiffer versus Cannonier would be a good one. Brandon Allen or Kai Borello. I'd be cool with one of those. Yeah, let's give him let's do, if I'm calling the shots, I'm gonna do probably Jared Cannonier. Let's do Jared Cannonier. That'd be good. Or Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori lost his last fight. Can't remember who he fought. Let me see. Let's ask. I'm like addicted to this ChatGPT. Who did Marvin Vettori fight last?
Marvin Vettori's latest fight was on July 19th, 2025 at UFC 318, where he faced Brendan Allen and lost by unanimous decision. Both fighters received the Fight of the Night bonus for that bout.
Yes, sir. All right, so Brandon Allen or Marvin Vettori, I'm down with that. Maybe even Jared Cannonier. I don't know why he would do it, though. He's getting older. I know he wants to fight for the title. Lost his last fight, though, against Michael Venom, if I remember. Yeah, Michael Venom. So, yeah, man. Probably Marvin Vettori would be a good one. Let's do Marvin Vettori. Joe Pfeiffer, Marvin Vettori. Let's do it. UFC 420. Let's go. Call me up, Daddy Dana. I got you. All right. Check this out. So, next fight that we're going to get into, I think I will smoke a joint for this because I'm ready to smoke. And I don't know where I put my joint. Oh, no. Pause. You guys see that John Jones's brother passed away recently? R.I.P. man, poor guy. He was like 30 something. I think he was like 39. I feel like that's young, but it's also because I'm like about to be 35. So it scares me. They did Alex Pereira did a moment of silence for John Jones's brother, and he said he wanted to fight John Jones at the White House, but didn't bring it up during his post interview because he wanted to respect John Jones and I guess him losing his brother, so he didn't want to call him out. I thought that was very warrior like respectable. That's why I like Alex Pereira, man. Doesn't really talk. Ankalaev told Alex Pereira no more trauma. It was so funny during Alex Pereira caught Ankalaev at the hotel a few days ago, and they were like kind of talking using like a translator. And it was like, and I guess Alex was more mad at Ankalaev's manager for saying something. I don't know what the full story was. I think, let's ask ChatGPT, baby. I'm like addicted to it right now. Why did Alex Pereira get mad at Ankalaev's manager?
Before their rematch at UFC 320, Alex Pereira claimed that Ankalaev's manager was controlling Ankalaev's social media, which created some tension. On top of that, Ankalaev's coach had also accused Pereira of greasing in their previous fight, which definitely added fuel to the fire.
Okay, it was the greasing, I think. Yeah, so ChatGPT's not 100% there, but I like it better than Siri, and I'm trying to move away from Siri. It sucks because if I want to shoot text messages or have it off, I still have to use Siri. I can't just use ChatGPT. It's not integrated into like the iOS, which I don't think they're ever going to do that because Apple's gay like that. But anyways, I've been using it more. So yeah, Alex Pereira was upset with the manager, and he caught him at the hotel. They were like going back and forth. It was kind of interesting to watch because neither of them spoke the same language. You just gotta see it in their face that they're like, okay. Anyways, next fight I'm gonna get into. Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. Josh Emmett is a staple in the UFC. He's a veteran. He's been fighting for the UFC for over 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken. But seeing him still fight today is kind of crazy. You know, that's some longevity, and there's not a lot of fighters that can do that. I think at the last card we had a guy that was in the UFC for like 10, 15 years too, which was pretty cool to watch. You know, still doing it, hanging with the younger guys. But Josh Emmett, he's he's older in his career. You know, he still wants to be champion. He still has very good. I mean, his skill set it's good, but it's pretty much only to knock you out. I mean, honestly, his skill set pretty much is just to knock you out. He's a knockout artist, you know, but he lacks grappling and you know, ground game. He kind of lacks footwork and combinations volume because he relies so much on that knockout power, and he does hit very hard, dude. When he hits people, they go down, but because of it, he kind of just stalks people and he just waits for like a single punch, or like if he throws combinations, it'll be like a 3-hit combination, but everything's swinging so hard that it's kind of coming like it's a little bit easier to read, you know. But it doesn't matter because even if you block, it fucking hurts. And he's knocked people out with them blocking, you know, with his hands. You know, I've seen him throw a hook where he drops them and they like kind of still caught it. He relies a lot too much on power, you know, it doesn't really set stuff up. But he's great at knocking people out. I mean, you know, let me get into their record real quick. So Josh Emmett, he's 19-5, 7 KOs, 6 subs, 7 first round finishes, right? Yusuf Zalal, he's 17-5-1, 10 KOs, 7 subs. I'm sorry. 17-5-1, 4 KOs, 10 subs, 7 first round finish. Zalal, you know, he was cut from the UFC in 2022. You know, he's a talented fighter. He's more of a grappler. He's all around. He's solid, right? He's part of that generation where they started training MMA young, you know, rather than doing a respective sport and then learning the other one. It seems like he obviously did a lot more jiu-jitsu and wrestling, but his striking is like, he's not a crazy knockout artist, but he's clean and he's crispy, right? And he's a younger guy. I'll show down his age. Maybe he's not that younger. I don't know, but I think he's overall the more technical fighter. But yeah, he was cut in 2022, and I don't remember why he was cut. Let's find out.
Yusuf Zalal was cut from the UFC after he ended up with a 3-3-1 record, and his last fight in August 2022 ended in a majority draw against Damon Blackshear.
Yeah, so I mean, he was technically sound, but he wasn't exciting, and you know, they ended up cutting him and whatnot. But he came back since 2022, and he's been on a rampage. I don't think he's lost since 2022, and he's been just, you know, fighting guys. Let's look at his acolytes real quick. You know what I mean? Curious to see who are the last few guys he's fought. All right, so you know, Kelvin Qatar, right? That was before he fought Emmett. Billy Quarantillo, Jarno Aarons, Jack Shore. I mean, these are like, obviously they're not like top 10 guys or top 15, but you know, he won all those fights, right? Like I said, since 2022, he's pretty much gone undefeated. Since 2020. So, and he's had since 22, 1, 2, 3. So he's had 5 fights. So, you know, he's doing all right. I mean, obviously they're not the biggest names. Qatar was probably the biggest name other than Josh Emmett. But he's been in there and he's making a name for himself. He's trying to climb the ladder. Interesting fight. I thought Emmett's power was going to be too much for Zalal. I'm going to call him Zalal, but I felt like Emmett's power was going to be too much for Zalal. Emmett mentioned how he spent this camp over at TJ Dillashaw, which I thought was a good idea because honestly, TJ Dillashaw, I think he is very good at the things that Josh Emmett lacks, right? Like if you think about TJ Dillashaw, he's Very technical striker, dude. You know, everything's thrown with intent. He doesn't overextend himself, doesn't throw harder than he needs to throw. Combinations are quick. His hands to punch combinations are amazing. Footwork is amazing. The two things that I think he could, that Josh Emmett would benefit the most from TJ Dillashaw is the footwork, right? Good footwork, and the combinations, right? Teaching yourself to throw the combinations instead of the single shot. But yeah, so I thought we were going to see a new Josh Emmett, and unfortunately, we didn't see much. I mean, this fight wasn't even close. You know, Zalal submitted Emmett in the first round via an armbar. You know, I mean, this fight just highlighted why Emmett needs to work on his ground a little more, and it's hard because at his age, I think he's like 40 already or something, close to 40, but when he was being put in that triangle, it was like he pulled his head out of it slowly, right? And while he was doing it, he wasn't realizing that there was still the threat of the armbar on the other side, right? So I remember he was getting triangled and he pulled his head towards the left side, right? When extended his arm out, and Zalal was able to grab that armbar and finish with an arm, grab the arm and finish with an armbar. I think if he had a little bit more IQ and jiu-jitsu IQ, he would have taken his time to pull his head out, right? Because at that point, like, he had his arm, and yeah, I mean, you don't want to stay in that position, right? But make sure you have like your arm, you know, you have control of your own arm before hopping out. You know, you just understand where the threats are, right? If I pull my head out of a triangle, the chances of an armbar are gonna be there. So let me pull it out to the right way, or make sure I have a grip of something. Maybe even grab my opponent, you know, as I pull out to try to fight that armbar. He pulled his head out and then instantly just into the armbar. I mean, I remember just seeing, because it happened so slow. I was like, damn, was he not noticing that there's the armbar threat right there? But you know, he pulled, you know, Zalal, he pulled off a first round submission. It was like, dude, it was seconds, man. It was so fast. And he was, you know, Zalal was so quick to grab him and stuff. I didn't see much from Josh Emmett, unfortunately. But Zalal, he called out, who did he call out? Murphy. I don't know, man. He's not ranked because, you know, I mean, like, Murphy's been waiting and he should be fighting for the title next, right? Zalal, he's still unranked, right? And I'm down to give him like a top 10 guy, but I don't know if we should give him Murphy. I think it'd be unfair for Murphy, right? So Murphy, he should probably be, I'm pretty sure he's fighting for the title next, right? Let's see what's in that, what they got going on in that weight class, featherweight. Featherweight. So featherweight, we got, yeah, Leron Murphy. I think he's next, dude, honestly. Or he's either should fight for the title or fight someone to get to the title, like a title elimination fight. You know, let's give Ortega, you know. Yeah, Ortega, he's ranked higher than Josh by 1 point. Brian Ortega's ranked number 7. Emmett's number 8. I'm down to give him Ortega or Arnold Allen. We should just beat him to the Sharks and give him to Sterling. Sterling, I think, beats him, though, honestly. I say let's give him to Ortega or Allen. Look, this is what I say. Let's give him to Ortega and see what happens. And if Ortega loses, we consider cutting him, bro. I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. I mean, I love Ortega, but, you know, he's from California. He's from out here. My guy, dude. Southern California. I got love for you. But, bro, his performances haven't been the best lately. That'd be what I'd say. It's kind of mean, but that's kind of what I say. Maybe I'm just a mean guy. Put me on, Dana. I'll make these decisions for you. Pause. All right. Let's see where we at. We're at 33 minutes, but there's a lot of air I got to cut out, so we're good. And we're almost getting done here. So for this next bout, this is a light heavyweight bout. Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree. Did I even pronounce his name right? I don't know. Is this fight upset of the year? I think it is probably the upset of the year, man. This fight was crazy. Man, I gotta smoke a joint to this one. I just gotta smoke a little bit for this one. Just a couple of hits, boss. Just let me get it. Are you guys okay with me taking a couple of hits? Bad. Was this fight an absolute banger? I had Khalil Roundtree as going to be the victor, right? I was like, he's going to destroy Jiri. Especially when you compare the Pereira fights, right? Jiri got knocked out both fights by Pereira. Jiri fought Pereira twice. He got knocked out both times by Pereira. Well, the first time was by a hook. The second time was by a head kick. The head kick, I believe Pereira knocked him out with the same foot that he had broken previously, right? And so he needed surgery and he was going to wait for this fight. Roundtree, he fought Alex Pereira, absolute banger, 5 rounds. He went all 5 rounds, gassed out a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. He didn't mention how he didn't train at Elevation, and I believe they fought at Colorado or something. So that's kind of why I attributed that to. But he did the best that anyone's ever done against Pereira, other than Ankalaev. And there was rounds that he did beat Pereira, and there was times where he could not match Roundtree's speed, but Roundtree was so fast and powerful. He could match the power for sure, and maybe even be more powerful, but the speed, he just wasn't able to catch Roundtree. And like I said, Roundtree carries that power with that speed, which like a lot of times, like the slower guys that have more power, it's like they'll just shell up and they'll wait for the right opportunity to like land one, so they'll try to time you, try to catch you on the way out at the end of your combination. Pereira couldn't do that because playing that game with Roundtree was playing with fire. Like it could have led to a knockout. You can't block every punch, right? You're gonna like if some guy's throwing like a 3-4 combination, you're probably gonna get at least one leg's gonna go through. Playing that game of waiting and like that peekaboo tactic is not the best idea, because you can get knocked out with that one shot that does make it through, right? And so you would see Alex Pereira kind of backing up. He would kind of like shell and then move backwards to get away from Roundtree. There are some times where he did the long guard, would try to long guard his way out, and beautifully Roundtree would just like kind of hop in on it and just go over the top with like an overhand or something, So just judging off the fights against Pereira, which Pereira is the standard now, right? He's the standard. He is the standard for that division. I was like, Roundtree's probably going to beat him. Then they both fought, so they both fought Alex, and then they both fought. Their last fight for each of them was against Jamal Hill, who also got knocked out Pereira via hook. Jury fought Jamal Hill. He looked like classic Jury. And let me just get into who classic Jury is, right? So Roundtree, he is the type of fighter where he comes forward a lot. He's very fast and powerful. A lot of combinations. He pretty much outworks his opponent. Or I wouldn't say he outworks his opponent. He out-violences his opponent. He hits people so hard, so frequently, and does not back down that he drops a lot of people and he stops them, right? His style is brutality. I love his style so much. He went to Thailand. He moved to Thailand for a while, and he's trained at like Tiger Muay Thai and these other gyms. I believe he has his own Muay Thai gym in Thailand now, if I'm not mistaken. But he's talked about moving to Thailand permanently, But his striking is very Muay Thai and MMA like, even more than I believe Alex Pereira's, Very exciting fighter to watch, very gritty, does not give up. I mean, Alex Pereira destroyed his face, dude. He's like got scars, tissue like above his nose now, or it's visible. And that was from that fight with Pereira, because he didn't back down. Even though Pereira was hitting him hard as fuck, he would just coming forward and keep trying to win. He's just a warrior. He just reminds me of like a kid that has so much built up trauma inside of him that when he gets into the ring, it just all comes out. Because he's a nice guy, dude. So for those of you that don't know, he was a nerd. He was like 300 pounds at one point. He's into anime. He's into metal. He's in a rock band and all that. He talks about how he got into MMA to lose weight because he was getting bullied, I feel like he carries a lot of that bullying into the ring, and he's able to do the things he does because he unleashes it, right? We're just a warrior, right? Jiri is different. Jiri is a lifelong martial artist. He follows the way of the Bushido, lives a clean life. He acts clean. He's very respectful. Even when he doesn't like someone, the way he talks is like not as, it's kind of got respect to it, right? He's not going to just sit there and say, I'm going to fuck your mother or something, or, whatever. He is a warrior, bro. He's the type of dude that'll seclude himself for a whole camp, 6 weeks, not talk to anyone, and just train and just live by the sword type guy. Very karate like style, hands down, darts in and out, unconventional, throws weird stuff, and when he does conventional strikes, he just does them at weird angles. He just reminds me of like a newer, who was I just talking about the other day? Keith Jardine, I guess you could say, like a more technical Keith Jardine, gritty. And long, dude. He's long for that division. He fights long, But yeah, so he was fighting Khalil. He's a taller fighter. It was an interesting matchup. It was the warrior versus the madman is the best way I could describe it, dude. You know what I mean? Khalil being the madman, Jiri being the warrior. But yeah, let's get into their stats. Jiri, he's 31-5-1, 27 KOs, 3 subs, 23 first round finishes. Super impressive. Roundtree, 15-7-0, 9 KOs, 7 first round finishes. I know that the stats don't line up because Roundtree hasn't been fighting as long as Jiri has, but I mean, if you watch Roundtree, you like, trust me, you would know. You would know how deadly Roundtree really is. And honestly, like I said, I thought Roundtree was going to win. Yeah, so this was basically a title elimination fight. From what I understand, the winner would probably be able to contest the title at some point, right? First round, man, Roundtree was looking sharp, bro. Roundtree changed his game up when he fought Jamal Hill, and he alluded that that's how his fight was going to be from now on. He was very measured, I think I mentioned it earlier how he maybe I didn't mention it. I think I put it in my notes, but I probably skimmed over it. Roundtree, after he lost to Pereira, he went back to the drawing board. He went to Thailand, traveled for other places, right? He changed the way he fought, right? He said that from now on, he's going to fight more smart. And the thing that made Roundtree his fights beautiful was he was able to go into the danger and become the danger, right? He would get into the pocket and get into these exchanges where most people didn't want to be in because they were ugly and just one shot could end the whole fight. Roundtree would go in there and put himself in those positions and come out on top, and it was exciting. But when he fought Pereira, he wasn't able to do that. He would press against Pereira, and Pereira wasn't like, he would back up to get his footing, but after like round 2, dude, Pereira was just staying in his face and just piecing him up, and he really came alive at round 3, 4, and 5. So Roundtree basically had made a decision that he was going to train to only hit when he needed to hit. Don't overexert yourself. You don't need to live in the combinations, and he showed that against Jamal Hill. He pieced Jamal Hill up, dude. Like, Jamal Hill kept trying to come forward and make it ugly, and Roundtree would just slide out, hit him with some combinations, straight punches, slide back out, he stayed composed and defense, like nothing was getting through. It was technical. It was a very technical fight, right? That he alluded to that being his new style, and he did not show that against Jury, man. When Roundtree fought Jury, he went back to old Roundtree, which I loved. I love just, bro, every strike was a crazy, 3, 4, 5, 6 combination ending with kicks. Everything was thrown 100%. Roundtree, you look sharp, bro. You look clean, powerful. Everything he threw was landing. Jury fell off, bro. He could not measure that speed, and he could not get comfortable that whole first round. Drew was just getting hit and moving around. He looks kind of like scared, bro, or like shocked at least. He just couldn't find his rhythm, dude, and it kind of looked like something was wrong with his legs or something, because he wasn't able. He usually like dances around. I will add though that Roundtree did eat up Jury's legs early on. He landed a few low kicks right when the bell rang, and then throughout the fight he would go back and land some low kicks. It's possible that a couple of those hurt Jury, and Jury wasn't able to move the way he'd like to, but I think most of it was just Roundtree's rhythm. He couldn't catch it. It was so fast. Round number 2, Roundtree turned up the pace. He, like I said, he just looked like that savage he was in the past. Jury tries pressing forward at the beginning of the round, right? And he just is met with Khalil's counters, bro. Every time he tries to press forward, Khalil's slipping off, throwing uppercuts. Dude, he just was dominating. Towards the end of that second round, though, Jury, or like maybe halfway through towards the end, Jury starts adjusting, and he kind of actually starts catching Khalil a few times. Yeah, he starts catching Roundtree. And I think that's just because Roundtree got tired. He was swinging so hard, bro, and he started fading towards the end of round 2. And that's when Jury was able to catch him. I think Jury couldn't do anything because anytime before he could think about countering, Khalil was already on to the next combination, or he was out, right? And like I said, and not only was the combinations like landing and accurate, but they're powerful. Every shot was hurting him, bro. He was landing he landed a body kick that sounded so loud on the microphone, and it immediately like turned red. And then he went to that for a body shot on the same side later on in the second round. And I think I remember like there was a round where Jury got hit and he kind of took a step back, but I don't think Khalil Roundtree registered it, and I don't think the commentators even brought it up. But it looked like the body shot or the legs were like kind of starting to fail him, But yeah, towards the end of round 2, that's when Jury started coming back, and he started looking like old Jury. He started like hands down, moving around. A lot of it was just because Roundtree was tired, bro. He couldn't keep up with them, dude. And it got towards the end of the round, Jury, he was able to throw like his combination, which was a lot slower than Roundtree's, like a 1, 2, or 3, and then he's able to kind of back up a little bit when Roundtree tried to counter, and then he'd come back in. He kind of did this one thing. I kind of do a similar thing to it too. Maybe it's like a traditional style thing, taekwondo, karate thing, but it's like you hop in the you hop into the pocket, you throw your combination, and then you just take a step back or you fade back, and then come back into your opponent. So a lot of the times you'll jump in, do your thing, take a step step back, and then your opponent will chase you because they want to make that back. So you take that step back. As soon as they take that step forward to start their combination, you come forward and you beat them with theirs. Yeah, he was able to do that to Roundtree a few times, and you would see Roundtree miss a lot, dude. And like I said, Roundtree swings for the fences every single time. He was not measured in any point for this fight. That round really started coming back to, like at the end, it was really going back to Jury. But I think that Khalil did enough to win that round, though, because like I said, he did most of the work for most of the time in that round. Round 3, that's when Jury really, he knows he needs to get a knockout or a submission. Obviously, he's got a higher chance of knocking him out. That's what he does. Roundtree knew that this third round was going to start off like with some fire. Jury came forward. He was landing well, but Roundtree was just digging deep, and he regains the momentum that he was losing. He cracks Jury with like a cross at one point, like a hard ass cross too. It landed. It was not with the same power and speed that he was able to throw in the first round, but it still landed hard, and it was enough to kind of get a response from Jury. After he cracked him with that cross, though, that was pretty much all he had. I think he threw everything in that cross, hoping that it would put him out. After that, he was gassed, bro. He kind of just was shelling up, and Jury, he noticed, Jerry just started pressing forward, bro. Every strike that Khalil was throwing, Jerry would just eat and keep setting his own. Jerry was pretty much beating him with like singles and doubles, bro. Like it'd be like a 1-2 pause, 1-2 pause, 1-1, 1-2. Very short combinations, but landing. I think part of that was because Jerry didn't want to overextend his combinations and get caught with the counter. But yeah, man, Khalil ends up shelling up towards the end of the fight. He tries to make one more go at Jury, misses all of his shots, shells back up, and then Jury throws like a left hook or something, hits Khalil, and Khalil just hits the canvas, man. Mostly because he was tired, honestly. He was breathing out of his mouth. Yeah, he was getting landed a lot, but I think if those shots would have landed in the first round, Jury, I think Khalil would have probably just taken him. He's shown that he can with Pereira, But the fight ends, bro, when Roundtree's on the floor. I'll probably add a picture, and his eyes are just wide and one eye's swollen shut. And that fool looks like he went to war and everyone died, and he was the last survivor, and he's probably getting half his body amputated. He was just laying dead. It was a beautiful fight, though, honestly. It's just sad that it ends like that. I like Khalil, and I wanted him to win, so I was bummed, but it was a good fight. And hats off to Jury. He probably going to fight Pereira again, I'm assuming, or I don't know what Pereira, foreshadowing the future. I guess we'll get into that after. So that was the Roundtree fight. After that fight, how do you even top that? Honestly, that was such an exciting fight. I don't know, but here we are with Sandhagen and Merab, right? This was a bantamweight fight. Corey Sandhagen, one of my favorite fighters in the division. Merab, not really one of my favorite in terms of style, but in terms of personality, I love him. And his ability, his wrestling ability, his cardio ability is second to none in that division, and it's something that all fighters are going to have to learn to rise up to. Like, you see fighters trying to counter his conditioning and his wrestling with other techniques like striking, trying to knock him out or trying to out wrestle him. I don't think that you can do that, right? I think that you have to fight his conditioning. I think your camp has to be full of running and training a lot of high explosive stuff, and honestly, that's something that Corey Sandhagen he kind of didn't really struggle with, and you could see that for this fight he worked even harder at it, but he's never really had a problem with his gas tank, I don't think. But it showed in this fight that he did work on his conditioning a lot, because he was able to go all 5 rounds with Merab, and he was able to fight the takedowns, get up plenty of times. He was taken down like 9 times in one round, and he was able to get up every time, albeit eating some shots and, losing a lot of points, but he was able to get back up. But yeah, so let's get into the stats, right? So my bad, I hit something. Damn, see, we're already at like 40 minutes, bro. I gotta really learn to not talk so much. But yeah, this is a bantamweight fight, right? Sandhagen, he's got an 18-6-0 record. He's got 8 by KOs, 3 via subs, 6 first round finishes. Merab, he's 21-4, 14 fight win streak, 3 KOs and 2 subs. I think he's undefeated in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Let me find out. Let me ask my assistant. Is Merab Dvalishvili undefeated in the UFC?
No, Merab Dvalishvili isn't undefeated in the UFC. He started off with 2 losses, but has since built an impressive 14-fight win streak.
Okay, my bad. So he's not undefeated, but so he lost 2 fights early on in his career. I do remember him now. But whatever, nonetheless, 14-0. 14 win streak. I'm sorry. Very impressive. He's almost on he's only four fights shy of Corey's wins. His win streak is only 4 fights shy of Corey Sandhagen's wins. But yeah, so Corey Sandhagen, all a very technical fighter, very intelligent guy in general, and he uses his technical brain, your best tool, to implement things in his fighting style, right? So he's a big reader, and he takes a lot of time to meditate, recover, and fulfill the mental aspect of being a martial artist, I guess you could say, right? A lot of elbows, man. He's known for having some vicious elbows. Very how can I describe his striking? I'm not gonna. You can say it's unorthodox striking, but it's very he's very tricky. You know, he likes to set stuff up, and he's very tricky. He can work both sides. He's kind of like an O'Malley, but I would say a little bit more. He's got kind of like a better. What can I say? How can I put this? Because O'Malley's good, bro. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but I think overall striking technique is better in Sandhagen, and what I mean by that is like the overall technique is like how he keeps his hands up, and he's always make sure his feet aren't too far apart. He doesn't take unnecessary risks, you know. He's a really exciting fighter to watch. I really like him. Like I said, he's got vicious elbows. He'll elbow from the bottom and cut people. He stop people from the bottom, you know. He just overall has skills everywhere, right? Merab, different type of fighter, Dagestani guy. I think Georgian, actually. I think he's Georgian, but it's right by Dagestan. Obviously, that from that part of the world, you know, his style, heavy wrestler. Does not stop. Conditioning is through the roof. He's like another. What was that guy's name that nobody likes? Not Cody Garbrandt. UFC fighter with good cardio wrestler.
There are quite a few UFC fighters.
American.
Got it. Some American UFC fighters who are known for their excellent cardio and wrestling include guys like Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington.
Thank you. Yeah, so Merab, he's like a Colby Covington, insane gas tank, great wrestling, different kind of wrestling than Colby, more of he likes to go for the body lock and work from there. Very comfortable just putting you in the clinch and just kind of kneeing your legs the whole time and then spamming hooks. Wasn't the most exciting fighter early on, but since then he's definitely improved and become more of a crowd fun style. A lot of the wrestlers have really boring styles. They just do. Nobody wants to watch that crap. But Merab makes it more exciting because he chains his takedowns like crazy. It's nonstop, and when he doesn't get the takedown, he'll put you against the cage and he'll just start kneeing the crap out of you. He's as of recently been working a lot on his boxing, and working on a lot more strikes from the clench position. His boxing has improved tremendously, honestly. When he fought Umar, I was really impressed with how well his striking has impressed. His boxing has leveled up, you know. What else can I say about the guy? I mean, he's a funny guy. I love his social media. He's freaking funny as hell. He's got a messed up nose. We should fix that one day. Come on, champ. Fix that nose. And he's a humble guy. He's really nice. He's really respectful. I like the guy, honestly. I think he trains with, I know he trains with Aljamain Sterling. That's one of his guys. I think it's a great mix, or I think it's a good teammate because Aljo, great wrestler, different style, but great wrestler. BJJ's phenomenal. So we're going to see what's up with this fight. You know, in Sandhagen, he alluded to a lot of elbows being thrown this fight. I was a little disappointed, saw very little elbows, but his grappling defense was insane, dude. I'm telling you, he was able to fight every takedown. No takedown landed clean, and he was able to get back to his feet almost every time. It was very rare that Merab was able to hold him down. In the second round, there was some adversity. You know, Merab was able to almost put him out, bro. It looked like Sandhagen was going to get KO for the first time. The ref let it go, though. Amazing. And I'm glad he did because Sandhagen was able to fight through all the way through to the fifth round. He might have won a few rounds too. Maybe not. I don't remember. Maybe 1 or 2 rounds he might have won. But it was a good fight. This fight was pretty important for the bantamweight division because it's you had Merab, who's just been demolishing the division, and then you had Corey Sandhagen, who's kind of been in the shadows. To me, I felt like if Merab would have won, it kind of would stagnate the division a lot. It's who's next for him? Is Merab going to move up? Do we have a guy coming in that maybe isn't a top 10 guy, or maybe one of the top 10 guys that we've mislooked, that has a particular skill set that could beat Merab. It's gonna take a specific fighter to beat Merab. You know what I mean? I haven't really seen it so far, but what do I know? And then we got Corey Sandhagen. Like I said, he's been in the shadows, kind of a different fighter. I think if Corey Sandhagen would have won, it would have changed the trajectory of the bantamweight division for the foreseeable future. But, if you guys know what's up, then you guys know who won. But let's get into it, right? So, round one, man, Merab was aggressive. He did start off as aggressive. He's always pressing forward. He knows what his strengths are, and he leads with them, Sandhagen's footwork was insane. He was moving around like so well, like no wasted energy, not just moving backwards, slide to the side when Merab would get too close, back up a little, throw a punch here and there, and slip to his left. It was so beautiful in his way. His distance control was just amazing, and his ability to know where the cage was at all times was amazing. Like he'd back up, and then slide to the side right before he got against the cage. It's something that he practiced. I guarantee you he worked measuring the distance of the cage and moving around stuff. Merab just couldn't get him to stop, and he wasn't able to just cut him off. The other thing that Sandhagen started off with very early on was low kicks. He was throwing a lot of low kicks, and you could see some of them were making Merab uncomfortable. But yeah, but honestly, that first round, Corey Sandhagen, he made Merab work, bro. He made Merab work to come to be the aggressor. And his striking was just so freaking clean, dude. He would just slide out and hit him with some stuff so quick. The length, was, the length of his hands was something that was a problem for Merab to deal with, It was a good round, It was a good round. I don't know who I gave that first round to. I probably might have gave it to Sandhagen just a little bit. But round two, Merab's pressure just relentless, bro. That's when he starts training his takedowns nonstop. Corey's just, cardio held up like nothing, bro. He's able to break apart the arms. He's able to like stagnate Merab, get to his feet. But then I don't remember how far into the round it was, but Merab is able to get. I think it was early on, dude. Actually, yeah, it was early on in the round. Actually, Merab was able to finally get Sandhagen down. And he just gets some punishment, Merab's just on top of him, throwing hooks. Sandhagen rolling to his knees, and Merab's just on him, continuing to throw hooks. At some point, Sandhagen works his way to the fence, and Merab's continuing to throw hooks. I honestly thought the ref was going to stop the fight. And I think I'm going to light a joint to that. Or I guess the same joint. The ref was right there trying to finish it, or trying to end it. But, Corey, like a warrior, he manned up and just went through it. But you could tell he was visibly shook. He even walking to his corner, he looked like he didn't know what was going on. He is almost, I think he got a little flash knockout, to be honest, dude, or something. He got his bell rung for sure. I think Merab got Sandhagen down 9 times in that second round. Literally kept picking him up and taking him down, picking him up and it was just brutal on your mental, bro, as well as your physical from taking the hooks. It's what do you do against this guy, But yeah, round 3, Sandhagen comes in and he just looks mentally just not there, He's not committing to any punches. He's not throwing any combinations anymore. One thing that was working out for Sandhagen was working the body. He was kicking and punching the body. Obviously, he stopped wanting to kick because he started getting scared for the threat of the takedown, But one of the things he was doing that was good was punching the body. He threw a kick. Or he was punching the body. He threw a punch. I'm sorry, not a kick. He threw a punch a few times, right? When Merab, you could tell, was thinking about sliding under for a takedown. And him throwing that body shot kind of prevented Merab from going into that takedown, because you're about to cut an angle and then you see a body shot come. You're either going to block it or you're going to try to get out the way. It's you might be able to shoot and not get hit in the face with it, but most of the time people don't want to risk that, It was, I don't know, the body shot was interesting, bro. It was working, and he wasn't going back to it in the third round, and I think it was because he couldn't think. He just wanted to survive at that point. That third round was just Corey Sandhagen surviving. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when Merab, one of the other things I noticed too is when Merab, and this is just classic Merab, bro, but there's a lot of the third round where Merab couldn't get Sandhagen. He's fighting for that takedown. Sandhagen's up against the cage and he's fighting the hands. And so Merab would just need the thighs. I think that at the end of the third round, if I remember, Merab just chained a bunch of knees to the thigh, probably landed 10. Started laughing afterwards, but it was an okay round. It was definitely Merab's round, but Sandhagen was coming back, and I could tell that fourth round he's going to come back in a little bit more confident, right? Round 4, Sandhagen's he starts to round 4. Sandhagen starts getting his footwork back. He's got his legs moving again. He's sliding in and out. He's avoiding the back of the cage. He's looking better. He's looking like he did in the second round again. I remember he in the fourth round, I believe he kicked Merab in the leg twice, and Merab switched stances for like just a second and then went back. This was like he kicked him right where that first round where he kicked him, and I told you it was above the left knee. I think he got him in that same spot, and Merab kind of switched stances and thought about it and switched back. I don't think Sandhagen caught that, and I feel like he could have capitalized that a little bit better. If you would have noticed that, he could have pressed forward a little bit or just kept attacking that leg. I honestly am surprised. Sandhagen landed some low kicks, but I'm surprised he didn't land more. I think with the wrestler, you don't want to kick to the body because there's the threat of the takedown, and it's risky kicking the thigh because they can still bend down and catch it. But I think the calf kick is a little bit more safer, right? Go for the calf kick there. It's going to be hard for them to drop all the way down to get that, But yeah, round 4, they get back into it. Sandhagen starts coming back, and at the very end of the round, Merab gets like a sweep, I believe. He ends up getting on top of Sandhagen, and he puts Sandhagen in a darce. Doesn't get it. He looks like it's in kind of, but I can't see the angle. But Sandhagen was putting his hands up and waving to the ref just to let him know he's all right. It didn't really look like Merab tried to sink it in too hard. Maybe it's because he really didn't have it, or maybe he felt like he didn't have enough time, or maybe he was hurt and tired. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, that round 4 it ended with Merab on top holding a darce. All right, so now we're going into the 5th round. 5th round, Sandhagen, he needs a finish, bro. He knows it. Merab knows it. But Merab is like, this is his time to shine, bro. When those later rounds are where Merab just shines, bro. He's like a Tonka truck that just does not stop and pressing forward. This 5th round, Merab did not let Sandhagen get his footing, man. Merab was just relentless with his grappling, dude. He just kept trying to grind down Corey Sandhagen, I mean, it wasn't like the best 5th round. There wasn't a lot of action from what I remember. Yeah, it was just a lot of takedowns and like grappling exchanges. Sandhagen kind of fighting the takedown. A lot of the fight being against the cage with Merab having like double underhooks or something, or body lock. I mean, honestly, that was just how Merab was going to win. We knew it. I mean, I know he wanted to finish it, but Sandhagen's too good of a fighter. Honestly, Sandhagen did everything right. He did what he was supposed to do, but he just couldn't get the win. I think one of the things he should have worked more is elbows. He did say he was going to cut Merab off with the elbow, but I didn't see a lot of it. He should have worked the elbows, like standing elbows, from those clench positions. Fight the hands and try to throw elbows at the same time, go back to one or the other, but back and forth, but yeah, Merab wins. And so what's next for Merab, bro? Do we do does he go up a division, or I don't know? Do we give him the money fights now? let's put him in boxing, guys. Celebrity boxing, let's go. But yeah, now for the main event. Yeah, let's sit up for this. The main event: Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev Magomedov 2. I mean, this fight, ever since Alex Pereira lost the belt, this fight was freaking already hyped up for the rematch. I feel like every time Alex Pereira loses, it's like the rematches are just hyped up, right? When he fought Izzy, the rematch was just super hyped up. We saw the rematch in MMA. It was the first MMA fight, but a lot of people were considering it like the rematch from his kickboxing, right? So for those of you that don't know, Alex Pereira, he came from kickboxing Muay Thai. So did Israel Adesanya. They fought one time in China for, I believe it was Phoenix Muay Thai or something like that. Alex Pereira knocked him out the first time. I remember they fought twice. Alex Pereira knocked him out the first time. They fought again the second time. I think Alex Pereira knocked him out again. They were close fights, and honestly, I think the first fight, Izzy was kind of winning that fight till the very end. At the very, very end, Pereira was able to screech out a dub. Second fight, from what I remember, Alex Pereira did a lot better. It wasn't so close. People, this is when Israel Adesanya, so when Alex Pereira was fighting MMA, this wasn't Izzy. It was just running the division. Everyone was scared of Izzy. He was just dominating, and there was no one for him to fight. So people started talking in the shadows. Joe Rogan and all these other people, they were talking about this Alex Pereira. At the time, he was fighting, and I believe LFA, or LFA is kind of a more local promotion. I wouldn't say local because they do have fights. It's like a national promotion, right? It's smaller, right? It's regional, right? He was fighting there. He had like 2 fights, 2 wins, right? If I'm not mistaken. They're talking about him coming to UFC. Dana White made the call, brought Alex Pereira in. Alex Pereira runs through the division, fights Izzy, and ends up getting the dub, man. But yeah, like I said, so that the rematch, it was so hyped. There was like story to it with the UFC. This fight with Ankalaev, I felt like wasn't as telling of those fights, but it was still like there's a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of hype behind it. People just like Alex Pereira, man, Chama. Yeah, man, this fight, it was the redemption for Pereira. His only loss in the UFC. I don't know, he lost Izzy, but his only loss in light heavy, right? And for those of you that don't know Ankalaev, bro, a lot of people would like talk Ankalaev, but I don't get why he gets all this hate. Like, people forget, like, for a while, he was that guy. Nobody wanted to fight Ankalaev for a while. I remember there was like 2 years where I kind of forgot about him because he was barely getting fights. He said that people were just either avoiding him or fights were falling through. I really think he should have had the opportunity to fight for the title a long time ago, but he just for some reason didn't get the opportunity. You see that, man. And then sometimes when they finally do get the opportunity, it's like it's already past their time, you know. Chandler taking too long to get to the UFC. That's a big one. Who's another story that I can think of? Spacing. I had someone unpause, can't remember, but yeah, there's instances where it just things don't line up right, and you get old and time flies. And Belil Dariush, that's what I was gonna say. Belil Dariush, he should have had a shot at the title a long time ago. Now his career isn't at the same. It's not on the same trajectory as it used to be, you know, and it happens, right? Things change, people, right? So, but yeah, Ankalaev, he was like the boogeyman of the old boogeyman before Alex Pereira, right? He was the guy nobody wanted to fight. He's Dagestani, but he's more of a striker. He's from Germany, which is interesting. I don't know if he lives there or what, but yeah, I saw he had a German flag. Like I said, he's a striker from Dagestan. He does grapple and he does do like groundwork and stuff like that, but I mean, he's very comfortable with the striking. Their first fight, when he first fought Pereira, he basically won the fight off the grappling exchanges. I remember that he'd just have him against the cage and would clench him and then throw some shots. Pereira was not able to knock him out, and he wasn't able to hit him hard enough to back him up. So I was actually fascinated. I was like, damn, Pereira can't. He hit him a few times, but didn't even slow him down. And I was like, damn, either Ankalaev's got a chin, or his pain tolerance is crazy high, or Pereira just isn't that guy in this division, you know, because Pereira, he moved up. I believe he was a middleweight, right? Yeah, but anyways, Pereira, he basically knocked Ankalaev out first round, dude. I mean, Pereira came out like a madman. I've never seen Alex Pereira fight like this. He's always been more measured. He's always got the more Thai approach when it comes to fighting. He's comfortable taking a round or two off just to figure you out. A lot of the times it's like, and even when he does get turned on, he's never like he's aggressive as in he's forward and in your face. And his rhythm is more like a pop, 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 like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's like boom, 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 right? He's never the guy that's up in your face and he's just like bah, 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 right? He's not like a Khalil Roundtree. He fought like a Khalil Roundtree. A Khalil Roundtree inside of Alex Pereira is scary, bro. Dude, the violence that ensued that night was crazy. I mean, dude, like I said, right off the bat, Pereira came off. Heavy low kicks like always, bro. He landed a bunch of low kicks early on. Heavy hands. Everything he was swinging with was 100%. He hit Ankalaev with the cross so freaking hard that it forced Ankalaev to shoot, and Pereira was able to sprawl. Got on top of him, and he basically had him kind of like, I don't know, Ankalaev was on his back, Pereira kind of was on side, had his knee across him, and he just started throwing elbows 12-6 to the side of Ankalaev. Ankalaev had his hands up and he was blocking, but I mean, he couldn't defend himself, right? And the ref gave him a warning and got in there, and Ankalaev just couldn't do anything. Ankalaev didn't get knocked out, but he got manhandled like crazy, dude. And Pereira, he gets the dub first round. It was fast. I wonder how fast that round was. Let me ask my assistant. How long did the match between Alex Pereira and Ankalaev last on the second fight?
Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev's rematch at UFC 320 lasted only 1 minute and 20 seconds, with Pereira securing a first-round stoppage victory.
I mean, it didn't even look like Ankalaev deserved to be in there, man. Alex Pereira freaking ran through him. And you know what's freaking scary is that no one's ever done that to Ankalaev. Like, ever, bro. Like, if you watch his old fights, dude, he never, even the first fight with Pereira wasn't able to dominate like that. Pereira went out there and he made a statement. That was angry Pereira. There was like some talking going on between him and Pereira. He's like, do you don't want to fight angry Pereira? Because that's what he does, man. So Alex Pereira gets the dub. He talks about going over to heavyweight now. I'm interested to see that. I know Cyril Gane will be fighting Tom Aspinall, I believe. for the next fight. I said this a long time ago. If you look at some of the older pods, I literally said Pereira should move up to heavyweight and he should challenge Cyril Gane, and then we'll be able to see where he's at. But whatever, dude. Maybe give him like an unranked guy first just to see it. Give him Tai Vasa. Yeah, give him a Tai or give him a Derek Lewis. Dude, Derek Lewis would be an exciting fight. See what he does with them, right? He washes through Derek Lewis. He washes through Tai. That means he's got the power to knock out the heavyweights, because those guys are two guys that are hard to knock out, especially Tai. And then we give him a top 10 guy. Maybe it's Sturgon. Who knows? I don't know. Aspinall versus Pereira. That's going to be a tough fight. But Aspinall looks a lot bigger than Pereira, like a lot bigger than him. And Aspinall possesses good jiu-jitsu, you know? And when you have a guy that's bigger than you like that, it's going to be easier for them to take you down, and it's going to be easier for them to manhandle you on the ground, right? So that could be a big disadvantage for Pereira, you know? So we'll see. But I don't know, you know? I mean, Jury, I think he thinks he deserves a rematch with Pereira. Damn, I don't know. Do I want to see a 3 though? Bro, I would have loved for Roundtree to have won, and then seen a Roundtree versus Pereira too. I don't know. I don't even know what's up with Roundtree, man. Is he gonna? He should have stuck to the game plan of being calm and measured. I loved watching him fight that way, dude. But he was winning the fight, so it's hard to say. You know what? What failed him was his cardio. Roundtree just needs to work on his cardio, which is weird because his cardio wasn't a problem in the past, you know. But with that Pereira fight, he did say that he should have trained at elevation. So even though his cardio didn't do too bad, it wasn't the best it could have been. And he understood that. And I'm surprised that wasn't something that he looked at for this fight, right? Because that's what you do, right? You look at everything else for Pereira, he did good, right? He fought a good fight against Pereira. The things he could have improved on was been more technically sound, right? Which is what he did work on. He's like, maybe just go when I need to go and stay defensive the rest of the time. And cardio, have better cardio so you can throw harder and faster, longer, right? He worked on one. Maybe he did work on the other and we didn't see it. Maybe he had an injury. I wonder if he had an injury. Let's ask ChatGPT. Did Khalil Roundtree have an injury going into UFC 320?
It looks like Khalil Roundtree was actually fully healthy going into UFC 320, and his coach confirms that. That definitely helped him out compared to his previous fight where he had that torn meniscus.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a training thing. I don't know. He was swinging too hard though. Maybe try not to swing so hard all the time. But yeah, that concludes my UFC 320. I think this went on long enough. I got a lot to cut out. Once again, I'm sorry. I'm just too full of information and I get too high. As always, I don't know what the F I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. I'm not a fight analyst. I don't work for the UFC. I don't know what I'm talking about. All I like to do is smoke weed, watch fights, and train. But anyways, ChatGPT, my new assistant, she will be replacing Trey officially. Trey's not on here anymore and I don't got a co-host. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.